character development and building. You got the part. You auditioned, and it's yours. Now what?
Okay. Well, I'm glad you're asking. Some people don't ask, right? They just read the lines. And I will say, I think it's very different being in a musical. In case you have not watched one of our previous episodes, Rebecca is playing Mrs. Bucket and an Oompa Loompa in our upcoming production of Willy Wonka. First thing that you need to do is you need to research and analyze your character.
Okay.
And you don't have as many lines where you say something or somebody says something about you in a musical. Wow. They're just not written that way. So they're much harder to have a depth to them to develop your characters.
Okay, so the research involves reading about the character and seeing what their lines tell about their character.
Right, and what other people say about them.
Interesting.
So you need to do both of those. So the very first thing you need to do is read the script, and you need to figure out if the character description says anything, or even in the way like, okay, my character says this, but the author put a note in that they're supposed to limp away after this point, or exclaim, or whatever. It shows you a little bit about them by how they're reacting to things. And then, of course, what other characters say about them as well. That's your number one place that you need to start.
Even the play that you're in, Orient Express, what is maybe something that someone says about your character, or a word that your character says or a phrase she says that shows maybe something about her?
Okay, well, I've just started studying that one.
Sure.
So I think that there are two different ways that you can build your character. You can build from the outside in or the inside out. So you look at your character and you know that she's playing somebody who's 60, but paralyzed, or that it describes her as having youthful expressions and spry, or that she has a limp on her right side, you know. And so you can start from the things that it describes you physically, and you build that way, working to the inside, which is more of the emotions and the reactions and the way that they're responding to things, because based on who they are. I would say most people don't think about the outside at first. And so they're working on all these reactions. Well, I kind of think outside is one of the most important things, because when I'm on stage, if I need to always be hunched, then I need to be there from the moment, because I might deliver a line way different this way than what this tells somebody.
Like the audience sees this, but you have so much character development that you have made from reading and researching. Right. And there's so much more of a story that the audience will never know. Right. That you know about your character.
You have to build a backstory for your character, you know? So you analyze everything, and then you answer all the questions that nobody else will ever know, but you will. So you know that one of the very first things I do as we're talking through character development is, okay, you tell me. Sometimes I'll start by asking the people, what are 3 adjectives about your character? For something like murder, I would have said that. Like, what are the 3 things that describe you the most that you want the audience to see at the end of the time? And sometimes those change. So when we start, they might say 3, and then when we get to them, they're like, oh, yeah, that was a surface level. Because as you live with these characters and you grow, or you should, then they might be somebody different at the end of the process. Because you can't, there's no way you can know them at the beginning like you're going to know at the end.
I mean, think about it, even with friendship. Like, you get to know someone, and like your first instinct of them, and then 3 months later, you're like, oh, you're not the person I thought you were, for good or for better. You know what I mean?
Right.
So same thing with the character. As you get to know the character, they might change.
Absolutely. After you analyze your character, the second thing that you need to do is you need to answer questions about them. Who, what, when, where, why.
Okay.
The 5 W's. Okay.
So first,
you're going to talk about who is in the scene. So I'm in the scene. Or am I in there with you? What is our relationship together? Okay. So I'm Mr. Bucket, you're Mrs. Bucket, or, you know, Charlie or the grandparents or whatever. Who's in the scene, and how? What is our relationship together? What is going on in the scene? What is the point? What is the high point? What is the climax of that scene?
Okay.
What is going on in the scene?
Ooh, where?
Where, obviously, what is the setting? If I'm on a train, if Mr. Bucket is on a bench in the middle of a park, or they sitting in the bed, what's going on?
When?
When in the plot line is this story taking place? Because in acting, you skip around a lot, right? So when is this taking place? Is it the day before the murder? Is it the day after the murder?
Yeah.
Is it midnight?
Wow.
So nothing else is happening? Or is it rush hour? So, so that is very important.
Yeah. And then why?
And then why is the most important. Why am I in this scene? Wow. Every time I come in and out of a scene, I need to know why. What is my purpose? Am I just observing? Or am I the reason that the scene exists at that particular point? I will actually, if I'm having trouble getting an actor to do any more than this and plateau all the way, I will make them go in and stake number their lines and say, okay, what are you? Are you a 1 where you're half dead? Or are you a 10 where you're like, oh no, the building is burning down? It's like, where are you in there?
That is so helpful. Like, I'm going to go through, because there are some of my lines that I'm just chill.
Okay.
Like, here you go, my love. I'm giving him a candy bar. Yeah. And there's time where I'm like, come here, let's wash your face, because you're going in,
This is so great. Yeah.
So that's kind of the idea of, like, that would be a lower stake and a higher stake line.
One more. And that is the other thing that I might do is I might tell people to verb their lines.
Okay, how would you?
And that means that for every time you are on stage that you have a line, there is a reason, again, that you're supposed to be there. What is it? To incite, to pacify, to experience, to, and you can get a book, and I wish I had it for you right now. It's for actors, and it has just a list of verbs in it. And so you can get it and be able to say, okay, I don't know exactly how to write that right now of what I'm trying to get across, but that's it.
And that elevates you from being someone dressed as someone saying words to you being that character on stage.
Right.
So I'm excited.
So you're going to verb your lines?
I'm going to stake it up.
I like it.
And we'll see what happens. But I hope you learned something. I know I did about acting and about how to really find a character, because I think this is an area of acting that a lot of people go to school to learn. But there are some very simple things that musical theater lovers and actors and actresses can implement now that can drastically affect their character. So thanks for teaching us.
Yeah, I'm so happy that you asked. Until next time, this is just me.
And me.
Talking to you. From the wings.
That might have been my favorite one we've ever filmed ever.
Really? And I can't wait to see what that means for you.
Me too.
You're going to turn into this
real mom. I might walk out of here like, where's my kid?
I was going to say you're going to turn into a fabulous actress.
That's the goal.